Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris met Sunday with at least three of the leading candidates to become her running mate. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro were interviewed at the VP's home in Washington. Harris is expected to announce her pick as early as today and then appear publicly with them on Tuesday in Philadelphia. And joining us now is Eric Ham, our CTV News political analyst. Eric, thanks as always for joining us.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, are we getting a clearer picture of who might be her VP? Who do you think? Put you on the spot.
I think we're getting a picture of who that she's actually going to name a VP. It's still unclear who that person might be. Many still believe that it could be Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania. And the reason for that is because Pennsylvania is perhaps, if not the most crucial state in this election, it's one of the most crucial states, and that it's a state that either candidate is going to have to win in order to secure victory in November.
Who do you like? Who would you like to see?
Oh, gosh.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, I think right now it appears as though there are perhaps maybe three potential running mates right now. Mark Kelly of Arizona, Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, and Tim Walz of Minnesota. Now, Tim Walz seems like he's the rising star that it seems like everyone wants. And we know that former Speaker Nancy Pelosi certainly wants him, and that is who most congressional Democrats have endorsed. There seems to be a growing form of lukewarm reception to Mark Kelly. And of course, Josh Shapiro has been perhaps the most vocal in terms of his ongoing support of the vice president. So I think what we're seeing is perhaps a battle between those two, Josh Shapiro and Tim Walz.
And she reportedly has met with some of the leading contenders, not saying who. What kind of conversations happen in those meetings? I mean, they've been vetted and they've been their background checked and everything. What is she going to talk to them about?
Well, what we are told is that Kamala Harris is actually looking for a governing partner. She is looking for someone who, beginning day one, will be a person that she can actually bring into the room for many of these high-level meetings, many of the very consequential decisions that she will have to make. And so she wants someone who we're told has executive level experience and can actually be comfortable with some of the very tough decision making that's going to that she will be dealing with on day one. And of course, when you look at some of the most intractable issues, particularly on foreign policy, that the vice president is going to have to address, it certainly makes sense, especially given that Kamala Harris herself doesn't have a very long experience and engagement in engaging around the world. And of course, any of these three candidates certainly doesn't have it either. And so it'll be interesting to see how she actually goes through making this decision. And while many suggest that the vice presidential pick isn't necessarily going to be a winner or necessarily a loser, it does go a long way in actually discerning the presidential nominee's judgment. And I think that's what many people are waiting for.
And how important is it that whoever she picks has the ability to go up against J.D. Vance, or is she looking beyond that?
Well, I actually don't see that as much of a problem for any of these potential picks. J.D. Vance is clearly a lightweight. He's out of his depth. In fact, we have been seeing that his unfavorables have been on the rise since he was actually made public that he was Donald Trump's running mate. And if you look at least three of the potential picks that we're seeing, their experience, particularly in public service and government service, is so much more substantive than what we see from J.D. Vance. So I don't even think that's going to be much of a contest. We do know, however, that has been one of the certain factors that the Harris team has been looking at, weighting this person, her running mate, versus Donald Trump's running mate.
Okay. Eric, thank you as always for your insight.
Thank you.
Eric Ham is our CTV News political analyst.